Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today you are going to see how a nervous breakdown looks like. In fact, I am going to install Windows 98 on this retro computer and you are going to see how difficult it is. After a few days of searching online websites for old computers, I finally got this one for a really good price, but as you can see it has Windows 7, which was not designed for this type of computers, old computers, so we are going to install this copy of Windows 98. And if you are interested in this computer's complete specification list, I'm going to post it right here. You can read them as I unbox this wonderful copy of Windows 98. I bought this pack of Windows 98 a long time ago and I was thinking of keeping it as a collectible, but since I decided to invest in a retro computer, I decided also to use it for this specific project. I paid, I think, €5 a few years ago for this copy, and now it's time to put it to work. Unfortunately, as you are going to see, this is not going to go very well. Believe it or not, installing Windows 98 on this retro computer was a 2-day job. The first problem I encountered with this installation was the CD itself, which was not bootable. Can you imagine that? The first problem was the CD itself, the Windows CD. I tried to boot from the CD and it was not working. I went back to the BIOS to check once again if I set the boot order correctly, and it was correct. I was really not expecting this type of problem, and before I ended up with this conclusion that the Windows CD installation is broken, I went back to the BIOS and reset it to the factory settings, and after that I just quit trying to boot from this genuine Windows CD. This was a major setback for the project, because now I had to go to the store and buy some empty CDs, and of course pray on God that the CD DVD burner installed on this computer actually worked, because I didn't test it. And of course, as you can see right here, I tried to change the IDE cables between the hard drives and the CD-ROM, DVD-ROM, because I thought it might be a cable problem. Of course, changing the IDE cables between them had zero effect. I just installed Power ISO on this retro computer, and of course I downloaded the OEM version of Windows 98 from winworldpc.com. I chose this OEM version because it is already bootable and I don't need to do any extra operations in order to make it bootable. And by the way, if you wanna see how I took apart every piece, every component of this retro computer and clean it very well, you have to subscribe to this channel, because I'm going to post a very interesting video in the next few days. Because of course, before I started to install Windows, I had to take it all apart and clean all the dust out and make sure that everything is working really well. Every component is working 100%. Now it's time to burn the CD with Power ISO. Unfortunately, before I tried this utility, I tried to burn the CD with Nero Burning ROM 6, I think, and the burning failed, and I started to get really worried that the DVD burner is not working properly, and that would have been a major setback, because if the DVD burner was not working, I had to go and find another one. But the burning finished successfully, and as you can see right here, I managed to boot from this CD and install Windows 98. Well, at least that I thought I was going to be able to install, because as you can see, after the first part of the installation, it started to get into a very annoying boot loop. after the files were copied on the hard drive, the Windows just wouldn't start. And honestly, after this problem, I started to ask myself, what kind of curse is this? What the hell is going on, guys? What is going on? First, the DVD is not working. Now that I have a DVD, is not installing correctly. What is going on right here? At this point, I really started to think that I have problems with compatibility, with component compatibility, or just bad components. The first component I tried to eliminate was this 256 megabyte Nvidia FX 5500. There are a lot of people complaining online about this specific model, and to be honest, if this was broken, it wouldn't have been such a drama, because I can buy another AGP graphics card really cheap online. In fact, it's not so surprising to see this old graphics card half broken, because they are older than the majority of teenagers today. This FX 5500 is 18 years old. It would be actually amazing if this card was working properly after almost 20 years in service, and we are going to see immediately if this graphics card is broken or not. This is the moment of truth. This is a moment when we see that the graphics card is good or bad. And as you can see, the computer gets into that boot loop immediately, which means that the graphics card is okay. Next step, it is removing some of the memory RAM. The motherboard is full of RAM. There are 4 memory slots with 4 memory sticks, but they are not all the same, so it could be one of them just bad or not compatible with the motherboard. So as you can see, I pulled 3 of the 4 memory sticks out, and what do you know, guys, what do you know? This is the first success of the day, a long day, and we are finally booting from the CD. We are finally managing to install Windows 98 all the way through. These are the memories, the memory sticks I pulled out. They are 256 modules, and in the computer right now there are only 512 megabytes, but it is more than enough for a computer running Windows 98. There were no more problems, no more boot loops. The installation, as you can see, is going according to plan. Nothing weird happening, but guys, don't go away. Yes, the installation managed to finish up. Hell is going to set loose in a few moments, so don't go away. Right now I am putting back some of the RAM, because I want to see which module is not compatible, or which module is bad actually, and I'm putting 2 of the 3 extracted ones back in the computer. I choose to put back 2 Samsung modules because I thought they are going to be a pair, and they are going to be okay. And as you are going to see right now, the computer is going to post and everything is going to be fine. I was lucky to guess the bad module from the first attempt. This one is the bad module. It's from a manufacturer I never heard of. Time to put back the graphics card, because of course it's not it was not its fault for the boot loop. And yes, right now we have a fully working retro computer with Windows 98 fresh install. But how are we going to get the drivers on this computer, because the USB are not working? Yeah, the drivers are not installed. So I went for Puppy Linux installation on a USB stick. On the same stick I put also the drivers for the USB ports. Also, I remember this method when I used to work back in the days on a computer shop. This was a very interesting method for recovering data when the Windows was not going to boot anymore and people had a lot of files left on the desktop and so on. You can use Rufus to make this type of medium. All you need to do after that is go to the BIOS and make sure that you are going to boot from that USB stick. And this is going to be really interesting, guys. This Puppy Linux is not installing anywhere. It's going to run from that USB stick, and you are going to see right now that you are able to access files from the USB USB and from the hard drive of the computer. Right now this is what I'm doing. I'm copying the files, the drivers from the USB stick to the hard drive of the computer. There are a lot of Linux distribution you can use for this type of operation, but the Puppy Linux is working very well with old computers. And yes guys, this is it. We are finally managing to install drivers on this computer after 2 days of unleashed hell. I didn't encounter a lot of problems with these drivers. I had to go back for a chipset driver because the one I had right here was not corresponding, so I had to go back and get another one, which was okay. This is the Windows 98 primitive device manager. I'm looking for what kind of drivers I still need to install, and I'm going to start with the good chipset driver for this computer. Overall guys, this was quite an experience. We might repeat it in the future. This is how the finished project looks like. Unfortunately, I didn't manage to find a square monitor. I had to buy a wide screen one, but it is okay. I don't have a really big problem with that. As you can see right here, I managed to install drivers for the graphics card for the FX 5500, and it is working really nice. And stay tuned because really soon I'm going to play some old games and we are going to have quite a blast from the past. And of course, if you like this video, don't forget to like it and subscribe. The first game I'm trying right now, it is of course Quake 3 Arena. Man, I used to spend hours and hours on this game back in the days, just firing that immense cannon, getting the perfect hit. Even though we didn't have internet back in the days, we used to play just with the bots. The bots on this game can be really interesting. If you play on maximum difficulty level, man, look how those cannons are going in. Another game I played a lot when I was back in the 90s when I was a kid was this Dr. Claw. Even though it's a pretty old game, it's a pretty old arcade game, it is getting really hard when you are going to move up through the levels. I remember spending a lot of hours around the computer trying to finish Dr. Claw. And of course, it can be retro computer without Midtown Madness. Another very popular game back in the 90s, racing through the city, hitting the pedestrians. Man, what a blast from the past. I really missed this close passing through other cars. When I look back at those days and look around me right now, I think we've changed a lot. Back in the days we didn't have internet and we are spending hours and hours playing on computers, and right now if we don't have internet on the computer, we don't touch it. We just don't touch it anymore. And Roller Coaster Tycoon. I remember always trying to get a grip on the best amusement park I could imagine. I really liked these tycoon games because they were constantly feeding my imagination. I would really recommend parents nowadays to encourage their children to play this type of tycoons instead of CSGO or another shooter game that is not developing thinking. And of course, it can't be a retro computer without some Half-Life. We couldn't play Half-Life when we were back in the 90s at home because we didn't have internet, but we used to go to places like internet cafe and we were spending hours and hours playing these games with our friends. This is the well-known Crossfire map, and I'm launching some rockets right here for the sake of the past times. I think I'm going to install some bots and play some Crossfire tonight. So guys, this project is complete. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section down below and I'm willing to answer anytime. And of course, don't forget to subscribe because we are going to have a lot of projects just like this in the future. I'm going to install Windows XP on this machine because it was designed for Windows XP. After I'm going to enjoy these lovely games, of course. Yeah, just tell me what do you think. What do you think about this project? And please tell me if this project was a blast from the past for you also. Thank you for watching and have a nice day.